Okay, there are a few who have attended a few webinars, and you're from all sorts of different places. Great. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of letting people in on the side, so a bit distracted. Great. So when you have questions, unfortunately, you won't be able to unmute yourself. So please type them in the chat window, and I will take those questions either towards the end of the webinar or when, in case the question catches my attention, it's relevant to what I'm talking about at that point in time, I will take it up right there. So one second. Great. Awesome. So let me just share my screen and we will get started. We, I think, have enough people now. Let me know once you can see my screen, please. Just a thumbs up would be great. And I want this to be a bit more interactive session, which is why it's a meeting thing as well. So feel free to keep posting your opinions, your thoughts onto the chat window. I'd love to hear what your experience has been as a content writer. Actually, that brings me to another question. How many of you are fresh content writers and you just started, and if you have some experience, how many years or how many months of experience that is? So if you could let me know that also in the chat window, I could maybe tweak the session accordingly. Okay, so lots of you are freshers. Okay, awesome. So because you're freshers, I think there is also another webinar that I do, which is about the top 3 things that you need to do. I think it's also a video on my YouTube channel that I've put in, the 3 things you need to do to get started. So whenever you get time, please also go through that video and I'll give you the links to those as well. Okay. So I am getting to the full screen mode now. Okay. Super. So a little bit about me, because a lot of you are new here. I'm Supriya and I have over 17 years experience in communications and content, of which 8 I spent in the corporate space, where I was on the client side working with lots of agencies, freelancers, etc., to meet the needs of my organization's content and communication and messaging kind of a thing. And then I figured that there is a big gap in the market in terms of people who understand the business and who know how to write or to take that message to market. So in 2015, I decided to start my own firm and I quit corporate to become an entrepreneur. Since then, I have successfully run 2 marketing agencies, one of whom which is today like a 200 people organization. And I also run, my current company is called Upgrade Consulting, which is more focused on content and communication. And this session, which is the Content Collectives webinar, falls under Upgrade because I realized to grow my business, I also have to find the right people who can help me grow, take on more work and increase my bandwidth. And therefore, I started coaching folks on how to become highly paid content writers last year. But more on that, maybe a little later if we have time. But in these 17 years, I've had some amazing experiences. I've been, featured all over the place. And there is my LinkedIn, profile in case you're interested. The reason I put this slide here is to just tell you that what makes me the expert to come and talk about content here, because having started an agency twice and both times, grown it into multiple crore revenues, has given me some insight into what is it that the clients want and how do you deliver onto their expectations, right? So that is the experience that I come with. And of course, because I hire a lot of people as, part of my agency work, I also realize what is it that I want from people. And that's, a bit of what I'm trying to pass on in these webinars. Yeah. If you're new here are a few more things that you can benefit from. And I will share these links towards, in the end in the chat window also. If you're not joined yet, there is a free 30-day email course that you can be a part of. Then we have some free learning content on my YouTube channel. The how to get started webinar that I was talking about is also there. And there's also our Instagram channel, which we keep posting some interesting stuff on very sporadically, but yes, it's there. Okay. So I'll share you these links after this webinar is done. But let's dive in up front. Okay. But actually, before I start, quick question to all of you. If you want to make 1 lakh as a content writer to begin with, what do you think you should be doing? Any thoughts at all? Put it in the chat window. Anyone? Build expertise in one's niche. Okay. Anyone else? Become an SEO expert and learn continuously. Okay. Know how to write quality content. Understand what writing suits you best and then pitch to relevant client. Okay. Focus on one area and become an expert. SEO and expertise. Okay. Learn to write for the audience. Yes. Super. Cool. So you need a little bit of all this. But to sum it up, there are two things I believe are important. One is quality of writing, and second is relationships. Okay, but I'll talk about this a little bit more. So there are 6, 7 steps that I'm going to talk about today in terms of how do you get to those, that 1 lakh. Okay, and how many clients do you think you will need to earn 1 lakh in monthly income? This is one of my clients. That's my son. He's not feeling very well today, so he's just gonna keep popping in once in a while. 1 second. Sorry, this is what happens when one works from home. Okay, so yeah, my question was how many clients would you need if you want to make 1 lakh in monthly income? So Mohit says 5 to 10 clients. Okay. Anyone else? 6 to 7. 1 or 2. Yeah. So just to 6 to 10. Okay. Yes. Quality matters, not quantity. So just to give you an example, very recently, in this year itself, I have one client where I have built 1 crore from that one client alone. Okay. And the year is not even over yet, right? We started in April, we are in October, and that 1 crore billing is done and over with. So to make 1 lakh a month, the maximum you need today, even with minimal, projects, is 3 clients, 2 to 3 clients, and I'll show you how that is going to happen, right? But if you want to get there, what I would recommend is follow the step-by-step plan. It might look a little bit tedious in the beginning, but trust me, we all have put in the work, right? I've spent 9 years in this space as an agency owner or an entrepreneur. So from when we started, it was difficult for us as well. We would take on any type of clients to say, okay, chalo office mein lights hi aa jayega. But once you start figuring out who you are, what you want to do, where you want to go, things sort of start falling in place if you stick to some key core concepts. Okay, so first step, and this is very important, and I tell this to everyone, be it people who are attending these webinars or be it people who are part of my 8-week intensive or the mastermind, you have to make a plan, right? Because if you don't have a plan, anytime somebody pops up with something, some different direction or something that feels interesting but is not in line with what you want to do, you would probably run behind it, right? So having that plan is super important to make sure that, okay, if I want to make XYZ income in this 1 year, Am I going on track? Or if I'm missing out on something, what is it that I am missing? Yeah. So first few things are to understand where you are, right? And again, there is another webinar that I do, which is about figuring out, and that's called Ascend. And it's about figuring out what are your core skills and capabilities, what is the market, things like that, right? It'll give you more depth into some of these topics. So I think that recording is also on YouTube. Please do go check that out. Or I'll do it sometime soon, and you can attend that webinar also for, it's a complimentary webinar. So first thing is, what is the niche that you have expertise in that pays well? Okay. And this is important because, and I saw some of the chat conversation said, be an SEO expert. Trust me, till date, I don't do SEO. Okay. I'm a content writer, but I do zero SEO. And even if my client asks me, can you do SEO? I'm like, give me the keywords. I'll write 1 or 2 lines with those keywords in the article, but I will not compromise on the article quality and do keyword stuffing. Okay. So, what is it that you bring to the table, right? And SEO blogs typically is where you have those per word, how many paisa kind of, you know, rates. Okay. Which is where there's a lot of volume, but there is very little value. And especially with AI coming in today, that has become a very not so interesting or lucrative field, right? Because clients are also like, okay, why should I pay a content writer to do this? I'll just, get AI to generate this in-house. So it's very important to level up there, right? Find out a niche that aligns with your expertise and that pays well. And then figure out what type of clients or companies in that niche that you want to work for. And the reason I say that is because every niche has money. Okay. I can't say this field will particularly pay more or pay less. I have worked with across, even lifestyle brands, wines, even detergent powders I've written for, and they have paid me the rates that I charge, right? So everywhere there is money, you have to figure out where is that money, right? So who are the companies or clients in that niche that you want to work for? So suppose today my niche is tech, and a lot of people say, hey, Supriya, because you're in tech, you get paid more. But the smaller tech companies or the SaaS companies are still paying those, 20, 30 paisa a word for SEO blogs, right? But am I operating in that area? No. I'm operating in the thought leadership field with bigger companies. So I have a specific ask that my clients have to be at least $200 million in revenue or more, because I know only then they can afford my rates, right? So we have to figure out, and that obviously won't happen overnight, right? But you need to have that plan to say, okay, this is my wish list. Now, how do I get in? That is a question we'll answer later. But also, so niche, then within the niche also, which companies, and then what can you offer them? Okay. And if, let's say, you're offering a certain kind of content, some people are great at short form content, some people are great at long form. Like if somebody asks me to do social media, I will run away. I don't do very well on social media. And if my clients insist that, Supriya, you write social media posts, then I charge them insane amount of money. So my expertise is long form content. Similarly, what is yours, right? Are you better at LinkedIn? Are you better at emails? Are you better at creating sales collaterals like brochures, etc.? Are you better at writing website copy? What is it that you can offer them, which is nobody's better than you in that space, right? And then based on the value that you're bringing to the table and need of the company, what would you charge and why? So we can't have a random number. We need to have a reasoning behind that, right? And what are some of the ongoing market rates and how do you benchmark? Now, I will never say just because everybody else is charging 50 paisa, I also charge 50 paisa, right? Like if you sometimes, for example, if I write a 2,000 word article for a client, I charge 85,000 rupees. Okay. I don't even know how much that is per word, but I'm assuming it's like $100 plus per word, right? So if I justify it on a per word basis, there is no way I can justify that pricing, right? But what I justify it as is the value that I'm bringing to the table. And then where is my market, right? I benchmark it against the US market. I'm saying I don't write like other Indian writers. I write it as per the US market. So that is what my justification for these rates is, right? Then a few hygiene factors in terms of setting up your business, because I've noticed that this happens a lot of times, right? If I ask people even basic stuff like give me your rate card, folks don't have a rate card. And these projects clients are always in a hurry. They wanted the content done yesterday. Okay. So if they ask you, like if you by chance get a chance to reach out to them and have a conversation, and they ask you for certain things, can you send me this, can you send me that, by the time you create it and send it, trust me, the project would have gone to someone else. So you need to have a few things in place before you start reaching out to clients, right? Which is figuring out how do you deliver services, right? How are you going to reach out to clients? How will you onboard them? How will you get payment? Those, logistics of business. We'll also talk about this a little bit going ahead. Then what is your revenue goal, right? And this is my favorite story. I tell this to everyone. I don't know how many of you have read those Lewis Carroll books, Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So there is a story in that where Alice is lost in the woods, right? And she sees this Cheshire cat sitting on a tree and she asks, can you tell me which way to go? And the cat says, that depends on where you want to go. And Alice says, I don't know. So the cat says, then any road will take you there, right? Because you don't know where you want to be. And setting the revenue, so whatever you keep doing, you'll just keep randomly wandering the woods, right? So knowing your revenue goal is super important to figure out how do I get there, right? The path will come once your goal is there. And I unfailingly do this exercise every year where I set down, okay, I want to make this much money this year. Here are my existing clients. This is the money they're paying me, which means for X amount of money, I need to find new clients. Who are these clients going to be? Or can I upsell some services to my existing clients? And all that planning happens every year without fail. And which is why year on year, I'm able to overshoot that target that I set for myself, right? So because same thing, once you know the revenue goal, you know how many clients you need to meet that goal, and you can reach out very systematically instead of, being on all these freelancer Upwork kind of sites and trying randomly to find projects. You will have a much more streamlined approach to do it. Okay. And finally, this is the most important question. And I was at an event in Kochi the other day and I was talking, like I was in a panel and I was talking about, of course, it was a women-led event and it was more about careers. But we talked about it there as well, that networking is the most important skill that you can have, or the most important capability. So this question, is there anyone you know who's connected in that niche, is where you are going to find your first client, right? So if you haven't started tapping into your network, I know a lot of you are just starting out, then please start having these conversations with the people you know that, hey, I do content writing. What can I, you know, can you connect me to someone? Or do you know someone who could need these services? Because getting highly paid projects is also a long gestation period kind of a thing, right? So you need to start laying the groundwork for work that's going to come in 6 to 8 months down the line. And you need to start doing that now. Okay. So this is the plan part of it. Any questions, any thoughts? Anyone who has a revenue goal already, just let me know in the chat window. Anyone with a revenue goal? And if you are okay, share it in the chat window. Oh, it is like 1 lakh a month. Okay. No one. Okay. So one exercise for this weekend is make the revenue goal. Okay. Someone has 24 lakhs per annum. Yeah. 15K initial, that is easy to do. 2 lakh a month, very doable. And I'm not just saying it from my experience. Okay. You feel free to talk to other people who are in this 8-week cohort that I run. Okay. A lot of them are making very easily whatever their revenue goals are. Either they have met them, exceeded them, or within 2-3 months, they're very close to. One of them just recently quit her job to freelance full time because she was able to make the money that she was getting as her salary and more. So it is very, very possible. but like I said, systematic approach. Okay. So there are a couple of questions on what is your niche and how have you arrived? And is it only possible through clients? What about jobs? Jobs is also possible. And there is actually a very interesting story. There was this guy, Vinay, who joined one of my very initial few cohorts. He was earning a certain amount every month. He was working with a vernacular publication and he joined the cohort thinking, I don't even know English. What am I going to do? But like 1 month into the course, he texted me a very long text message and he had gone for an interview for a job to another company and they had given a sample assignment, right? If you're a content writer, you're looking for a job, you will get sample assignments to do. So he got sample assignment and he told me that everybody just took that assignment and started writing. He was the only one who followed the method that I had talked about in the course. And they gave him the job and they doubled his salary, right? And he asked them why, because he was not expecting double the salary. They're like, you are the only person who did this, and everybody else just like wrote the assignment and submitted it, but you were the only one who followed these steps, and because of which we know that you're going to be good at what you do. So jobs wise, also it is very possible to earn good money as a content writer. But it again depends on how you approach it. Okay. So I'm moving on and I see a few more questions and I will keep answering them towards as we progress. Okay. So when we talked about this niche, right? Here are a few that I think you can explore. Of course, this is a very limited list, but you can look through, like deep dive into it. For example, if I'm talking about technology as a niche, then you can look at cybersecurity only or data analytics only. If I'm talking about fashion as a niche, you can only talk about, let's say, clothes or makeup or whatever that is, right? So you can dive deeper into these, or you can have extra other niches that are not a part of this list. But these are some common ones that definitely have a lot of content creation potential. And if you look at it, the list to this side, right, the tech finance business management tends to be slightly higher paying. Okay. But my previous statement stands that every niche has money, right? The only reason the ones on the left pay a little more is because you need some sort of an expertise going in. Okay. So, for example, today anyone can become a food blogger and they can write about food because that's something we all experience, right? Similarly, all of us experience lifestyle related choices or fashion related choices. So, there is not that element of expertise as such in most of the content that gets written in these niches. So, therefore, the rates could be slightly low. But in tech, finance, business management, etc., you need to understand what that space is about before you can actually start writing it. And for that expertise, you get a slightly more premium kind of a thing. But like, to give you the context of why I say every niche has equal amount of money, let's say in lifestyle, for example, or food, for example, you're writing about wine. Okay. If you're writing a blog to tell people here are the 5 types of wines you should pair with food, that may not get you a lot of money, right? But if you're writing for a top winemaker who is an expert in the field and up to other winemakers, that is which could be getting published in, let's say, a very premium uh, food publication, then you will get paid more, right? So the type of assignment, the type of client, the type of industry, everything makes a difference in terms of how can you price your products. But see if there's any niche that appeals to you here. Okay. Um, okay. Now, like I said, the second part was, who do you want to work with? Okay. It might not be an easy question for everyone, but here's a very simple way to qualify your clients. Okay. The first important thing is, do they have the budget to pay the rates I want? So a small company, and it's a very easier way to do it, but it takes some time and some experience to figure out what is the client's propensity to pay. So even though I provide the same sort of services across a spectrum of clients, my rates are different. So there is no one price point that you can stick with. If the client has more money, you ask for more money. If the client has less money and you have the bandwidth to deliver, then you do it in that thing, right? what you need to understand is your minimum viable price. That below this amount, spending this much time doesn't work for me, right? So that will come with a bit of trial and error once you get started. But here are a few things that will help you qualify the clients, right? So for example, what are the types of businesses that you want to work with? Is it B2B, B2C, SaaS companies, coaching companies, consulting companies, those kind of things, right? And I'll show you how I have qualified my clients in the next slide. Similarly, you can look at size of business, right? Which you can determine by either their revenue or number of clients. And the bigger the company, the bigger, pie they have to spend on marketing, right? And the more they spend on marketing, the more money, like the more some content also gets, right? You can also, so either revenue or number of employees, or you can do like startups, MSMEs, mid-size MNCs, depends on what is the information available on the client, right? And you only want to work with Indian companies, or within a particular state, within India, or global companies, versus also, where they are in the journey, or how much content do they need, right? Do they already create a lot of content? Do they create little bit content, but it could be better, or do they have nothing at all going on, and you have a bigger chunk that you can pitch to them. So you can qualify clients based on this. And just a quick thing on oops, where did that slide go? Okay, I'll come to that. I think that's towards the end. And the third part in this, right, where we spoke about, so we saw niches, we saw what type of clients and companies, how to qualify them, and what services can you offer, right? So these are the services typically in content creation that clients want, which are articles, blogs, white papers, ebooks, brochures, flyers, web pages, landing pages, case studies, emails, social media posts, video scripts, ad copies, meta descriptions, Amazon A+ copy, product descriptions, WhatsApp messages, also lead magnets. So there's, of course, again, not an exhaustive list. Other things also can come in, but this is typically what clients could be looking for. So where is it that you are good at, right? So figure that out. And I will send this recording later, so you'll have these things that you can mull over a little and think through what you want to do. And finally, what is it that you should charge, right? So like I said, this is and I've just picked up typical rates based on my experience and by talking to a few people. So there is a bottom of the bucket content, right? Which I just spoke about, that SEO blogs, product descriptions, etc. This companies definitely need, but they're not willing to pay for, because it doesn't affect their brand so much. It is just like, for driving some traffic, etc. Those digital hygiene factors they need to do. So typically from 10 paisa to 2 words, 2 rupees per word is what you get for this content. So if you look at it like this, you write 40,000 words, you'll probably end up making some 10, 20,000 a month. Totally not worth it, right? Especially with AI. The next is middle of the bucket content, right? Which is basically sales content, brochure, flyer, web pages. Companies need this to interact with their customers. Emails, etc. also fall into this, right? That they need to work with talk to their customers and get them aware about their products and services. So this is somewhere you'll get between 3 to 7 rupees per word. And then there is premium content, right? Which is affecting the company's brand. So what they get published into media, what lead magnets like ebooks, etc. they create, or articles they put up on their website, which are not just SEO blogs, those you can get paid around 7 to 20 rupees a word, right? So these are typical rates. And again, this will help you decide where is it that you want to play. And as you go up top this pyramid, right, quality expectations also change. So you can write a very shoddy SEO blog as long as keywords are stuffed in, and people would still be okay. Yeah. But as you move towards the top, especially when you get to premium content, clients expect flawless quality, right? So you need to also see, if I want to charge those rates, how do I upskill? How do I improve the quality of content that I'm delivering? But this will give you some sense of how do you price yourself, okay? Then we come to the next part, which we spoke about, right? What is the setup you need to deliver services? So this is very basic, and a lot of people ask me, Supriya, do I need to create a website to showcase my portfolio? And I'm like 100% against it. Okay. My business, like I said, is now multiple crores in revenue. I still don't have a website. It's completely word of mouth. I think now it's high time I build one, but till date, I have not needed a website, right? Because what happens is people judge a book by its cover. Okay, we are content writers, we're not really web designers. One, if you go to a web developer and or even if you use Wix or something to create a free website also, it will not look that savvy. Okay. And when the client looks at that website, the first impression they get is, oh, this is not very nicely done. So they don't even look at your samples. They have that visual experience. And we we used to joke about it, right? That light travels faster than sound. So you see things first, and this was about, when you enter a room and you talk to people, before you do that, people see you and judge you for it. So similarly, the thing is for your website as well. People will look at a website. If it is not like some amazingly done website with great UI UX, they'll be like, no, no, this person is like, they've not even done a good job on their website. How will they do a great job for our content? So I would rather say, keep it simple, make a PPT, use some Google Drive links, save yourself, a lot of wasted time from website development, save yourself a lot of money also, while trying to build that. And initially, when you start, keep it very simple, right? So one, you need an email account, definitely a professional sounding one. So Gmail is fine. It's also free. You can use that. You need a calendar to book meetings. Again, Google is your friend, so go use that. You need a tool to conduct online meetings. So Zoom, Google Meet, all of that you can use. You need some tools to deliver services and to make sure that you come across very professional. Okay. So you need Excel sheets or Google Sheets to track your projects, Word document, a license to, or Google Documents also you can use to create the write-up, the content that you will share with your clients, Grammarly or any other tool like that to check your work, Copyscape to check for plagiarism. If you have a premium version of Grammarly, you can use plagiarism checker there as well. And of course, Google for research. And finally, last two things, you need documentation, which is have a contract in place. When the client asks you, what are your terms of service? You should be very clear that, okay, if I'm writing an article, how many days it will take? What do I need as a brief? What is the payment that I expect? How many iterations are included? What is considered an iteration? So you need to do all of that. You also need to have some NDAs signed. Most often than not, clients will send it. If they don't, then you might want to send a document yourself. And invoice templates. I cannot tell you how many times this has become an issue, right? Because for anyone to pay you, you need to send them an invoice, right? But literally zero people that I have coached through the last 1 year know how to create an invoice, and they have been doing content writing, etc., even before they joined the course. So teaching them how to even create an invoice, I didn't expect that I would have to do that, right? But this is, again, these are the things that show that you're not a novice and you are a professional, and therefore you need to keep this ready and keep this in place. And finally, a bank account to collect payments. Initially, a savings account is okay. You can later change that to a current account as your business grows. You might notice I haven't talked anything about business registration. So till you have 20, or I think now it's more 20 lakhs in revenue, you don't need to register your business as such. As a freelancer, it's totally fine. Then you have to, get a GST certificate and do the registration. But initially, you can operate as it is. Freelancing is totally good. Okay. So before I get to this, any questions, any thoughts here, just let me know in the chat window. Okay, I have a question. What about a Medium page? Will that help? If you want to publish your work and then send clients link, yes, Medium page is fine. I actually have another video on how to make a kick-ass portfolio that's on the YouTube page. Go check that out and it'll answer all of these questions. Um, You being an established content writer, you would not need a website, but what about people who are just starting off with their content creation? So I also started off, right, in 2015, but we didn't have a website, right? Then I started off again in 2018, but I still didn't have a website. So that's not needed. Like I said, Google Drive links, PPTs, all that is fine. And this, how to build a kick-ass portfolio, actually show you what is it that I send to my clients. Invoice generation software, yes, that's totally fine. But initially, you may not want to uh, spend money on those softwares. If you have a free one, cool. Otherwise, just create an invoice template in a Word document and convert it in PDF and send. I like writing stories. Can I be a content creator? So that depends on what is the niche that you're looking at, right? So a lot of these, like Humans of Bombay is a story writing page. You can be a social media staff for them, right? And you can write those people's story. So there is options for everyone. It's just like you have to see where do I fit in. Okay. What about English level required? You need like an exceptional level of English, almost close to a native speaker. And which is why, again, in that Ascend webinar, which I talk about, I give you tools on how do you build your language skills, right? But today now you have tools, right? Grammarly, ChatGPT. Even if you're not writing great English, you can use the tools to clean up your language. And also there's a lot of big market in vernacular space also. It's not just English that where content writers are needed. Cool. So moving on in the interest of time, because I don't want to keep you guys, much later on a Saturday. But if your revenue goal is 1 lakh a month, um, here's a package that you can create, right? I've given you 3 package options that you can create and what you can bill for to your clients. And one of my 8-week cohort folks has used a similar template to charge these amounts, and she's crossed, I think, around 1.5, 2 lakhs a month in revenue already, right? So first offer, very simple one, social media content writing for one channel. Okay, what will you deliver? You will fix their bio on the social media channel. You will have them decide on hashtags. That's a one-time activity. You will have them ideate on topics, which is a monthly activity. You will create 10 static posts for them, which is you will do the content plus design. Now, if you're not a designer, this is a good place to partner with a designer, right? And you can create content and they can do design for you. You will create 5 to 10 reels. You will create 12 to 15 stories, and you will manage their comments and DM. For this, you can easily charge 30,000 per month. Okay. It could be even more, but I'm keeping a very, balanced kind of a thing here. 30K per month, people are easily willing to pay this amount, right? So this will be one client. So total revenue, 30,000 per month. Second offer, again, simple offer, which is email marketing only. So you will help a client, let's say a coach, let's say a fitness instructor wants something, or a fitness gym wants something. So what you will do is you will, one second, sorry. Um, okay, so sorry. Okay, so one-time transactional emails, which is about hi, welcome to this coaching program, or hey, you haven't checked in for so many days, or congratulations on your purchase. Those are transactional emails, right? So you set that up one time, you will write those one time. You will then give them 4 sales emails per month, which will be like for any new offer or any new product on sale or service on sale, you will write 4 emails, and you will give them 4 nurturing emails per month. Now, every email is around 600 to 800 words, right? Or even smaller for some people. Like I prefer my emails to be really short, like 400 words max. So nurturing emails is where clients figure out, okay, how do you stay connected to people? For example, let's say a Patagonia or a Harley Davidson will send emails about, okay, this is the latest update in the market. Here's why you need to buy so and so for your bike, right? Or what is this particular engine component going to do for your riding experience? So those are the kind of things that are nurturing emails. So again, people might pay more, but I've kept a conservative estimate of 20,000 per month you can charge for this. And the third offer is when you help them, like a smaller business, set up a content pipeline for themselves, which is you will create one landing page copy for them, not design or development, just copy for one landing page of their product. You will write 4 blogs a month, one ebook, a short ebook on whatever they let's say if they're a fitness coach, then it could be about, okay, 10 ways you can lose weight or 10 ways to get ready for the festive season or whatever that is. You will write 8 social media posts and 4 emails, and for that you can charge 50K per month. And if you can see, some of these are very overlapping kind of content, not difficult to do content. Email and social media is easy. It's not even long form yet, so you don't have to spend a lot of time researching and writing. And with just these 3 clients, you've got your 1 lakh per month. Okay. So these packages you can use as such, just pick them up and use to pitch, or you can mix and match and create your own packages as well. But I wanted to give you a sense of how to create a package and what is it that tentatively that you can charge for it. Okay. Of course, there are a few things that are important in this, and I'll talk about that as well, which is just sending a package is not enough, right? You also have to showcase who are you and can you deliver it. Okay. But before that, this is my plan. So I have my niche is tech with at least 200 million in revenues. I offer leadership branding, media bylines, blah, blah, blah. I charge this just for the sample 40 rupees a word. And these are the tools I use. I want to make 16 lakhs a month, and I need 6 to 7 clients to meet that goal, right? And is there anyone you know who's connected to that niche? So there are friends, ex-colleagues, person I met at an event, those kind of people. I've not named names, but you should name the person in your plan. Okay. That was a very long step one, right? Make a plan. Second thing is, which I talked about last, right? Just sending a package is not enough. You have to figure out what is the value you're bringing to the table, and that is where articulating your value proposition becomes important. Because the hard reality is that there are millions of content writers, okay? And unfortunately, everybody is competing on cost, that I can do this cheaper, right? And typically, for low, that bottom of the bucket content, clients tend to go with the cheapest, right? But do you want to be that? And again, this is a story I keep telling, and I'm sorry if some of you have heard this before, which is about, and value proposition is like this, right? If you have a diamond and you take it to a village and you try and sell it there, people might think it's very beautiful, but they won't be able to pay for it, right? They won't be able to buy it. Similarly, but you take the diamond to, let's say, an Ambani's, whatever, and they won't even think twice before paying you what you want, right? So your value proposition is like that diamond. What is that, and who do you want to pitch it to? Okay. And I also, another thing that I keep telling people is, you don't want to be a fish market or a sabji vendor, right? Where our mothers will go, or they'll say, Bhaiya, 10 rupees kam kar do, right? Even if it's just like some 100 rupees ka stuff they'll buy, they'll negotiate and haggle and bargain. We don't want to be that. Versus you walk into a supermarket, you know there's no scope for negotiation, right? You pick up that something, the price is stuck on it, you go scan it and you pay that, right? So where do you see yourself in that picture is very important, and where does the client see you in that picture is equally important. So the value proposition has to shine through. Work with Supriya or Mohit or Manoj because they deliver better quality than anyone else, or because they deliver faster than anyone else, not just because it's cheaper. Okay. Because, and trust me, clients who pay you less are the worst. They will harass you. They will like literally take out minor little faults for no reason whatsoever. Even if you want to add a comma, they'll come back to you and say you added, right? Versus clients who pay you premium prices are, in my experience at least, are not the ones who will do unnecessary nitpicking. Okay. So it is in your interest to find those people who understand and appreciate your value. So ultimately, it comes down to figuring out your value proposition. Who do you help and with what, and how does that align with their business outcomes, right? Because our clients are not in the business of content creation, right? Their business is something else. They're either selling a product or a service, right? They're not a media house, unless, of course, you're working with a media house. So their intention is to create content that resonates with their audience. Okay. So for me, for example, my value proposition is I help large tech companies with premium thought leadership content to help drive their business. Okay. So think about it a little bit. And if somebody has an answer ready, let me know. Who is the client that you want to work with? Like, for example, for me, it's large tech company. So I help Dash with what is the service that you want to give, premium thought leadership content, to help them drive business. For example, for me, right? So if you have anything, just put it in the chat window. I'd love to see. Kaushik is asking, is 1 crore a year a realistic goal? Why not? The goals are great. Now, once you've decided, I want to make 1 crore a year, the question is the plan. How do you get there? How many clients do you need? Who do you know? How do you get in? How many services that you need to deliver? Content creation gets 18% GST. I do ghostwriting for YouTube channel. How do I move to writing content where I get my name published? My question, why do you want to get your name published? Like, that is where you put, like, publish your articles in media publications. You won't get paid for it though. Mm, okay. No one, not a single value proposition I've got yet. Okay, so I'll leave you over the weekend to do this. Okay. Third step, start building a network. Super, super, super important. Nothing happens without a network. And I'll tell you why. So I call this a circle of influence. Okay. Now, suppose you want to buy let's say you want to buy a scooter or a mobile phone or whatever that is, right? Um, you just don't go and walk into a shop and say, give me a mobile phone, right? You will check with your friends and family. I'm thinking of this model. Do you think it's good? Have you used it? Do you know someone else who's used it, or for the scooter, whatever that is? Then you will also say, Acha, should I buy it from this store? Should I buy it from that store? Even when we order food on Zomato or Swiggy, we look at reviews, right? Or anything we buy on Amazon, how have other people rated it? So we are conditioned to look at anything from are other people using it, and is this service or product worth it, right? And we go by recommendations. Same thing is for content writers. Okay. So if you, and that's why I'm totally against cold emailing. When you cold email people, they don't know you, you're just another email in their inbox. Why will they open it? Right. Even if they open it, time is the biggest scarcity in business world today. Okay. They do not have time to respond to your email because they don't know you. It's just another name, another email. Probably it's landing in their spam. Right. So your network is what opens doors for you. Because what happens the minute someone says, this Galaxy One or whatever that phone, I've used it, it looks good. I think you should take it, instead of whatever other phone you were considering. You will think about it, right? Because somebody else referring has already built a modicum of trust in your mind that somebody I know is referring this person or this device or whatever, and therefore I trust it just a little bit more. And that happens to content creation also. Today, if I say, if somebody tells me, I mean, I get so many CVs in my inbox as well, right? And a lot of people texting me on LinkedIn and saying, I will 10x your revenue or I'll grow your network 3 times. I don't respond because there is no time. But if somebody tells me, Supriya, this person is really good at content and I think you should totally work with them, I would go and, at least hear them out because somebody has referred them. So doors open because of a network, but doors stay open when you deliver quality. Okay. And nobody wants to refer anyone who's not good, because what happens if I refer you today and you do a shoddy job, whose reputation gets affected? Mine, right? And which is where trust also builds in. If somebody knows that I'm referring someone, they know that Supriya is not putting her reputation in line for this person. If she is saying, therefore, they must be doing something good, right? So the first thing, if you don't, and I saw some comments which says, I don't have a network, that is impossible, right? You have friends, you have family, you went to school, you went to college, you probably worked somewhere or the other, right? You know those people. Now is the time to systematically work backwards, find those people, reconnect with them, brush up your LinkedIn profile, and get to a stage where you can talk about what you're doing. Don't ask directly for help. That's okay. Like, I know some of us are very uncomfortable saying, can you get me work? But indirectly talking about things also can get you to a place where you can say, where when they think about content writing, you are the first person that pops in their mind, right? So network, start building it today, and you cannot do it behind your computer screen. So go out there and meet people. Okay. Some of the best projects I have got, like one of my first ever client who paid me 7 lakh rupees was a guy who walked into our restaurant. So me and my husband had a restaurant at that point in time. Okay. We had just opened it. He was looking to, that guy was a fresher out of college, IIT, had built a product, had gotten 2 million in funding. He was selling, the product was for restaurants. So he walked in to sell us the point of sale system, which was fantastic. And I had just started my marketing agency. So we got talking, and then I said, listen, we'll buy your POS if you give us a chance to pitch our marketing services to you, because you're, new and you don't have any branding. So we went, we pitched, they loved it. And they paid us 7 lakh rupees for that work. So your clients can be anywhere, right? But you have to be out there and go open up to people, meet people, have those conversations. Another client I met at a pot painting event. I went and we were painting clay pots, and she turned out to be the CMO of this company. And we got talking, and then she passed on some work my way, right? So you can go um, do anything, anywhere, expand your horizons, attend events and workshops where potential clients hang out. Go for informal events, because this is where people are more relaxed, right? Nobody's like exchanging cards and saying, Acha, give me business, give me business. You're just doing some activity which is outside of work, and you're actually making friends. And when you make that informal connection, work comes easier, right? Because they've already built that level of trust with you. Invest in some memberships, maybe not immediately, but a little bit later, to see what, like I'm a member of multiple groups, and a lot of work comes to me through those. um, and the fourth point is very important, and the only reason I've put up here is I've seen across these webinars, across my cohorts, people don't come on video, people don't speak up, people don't ask questions, people don't share stories. These are core skills today. Everything is about network and communication. Okay. So even if it makes you uncomfortable, and it for me, it did, right? I was an introvert. In school, I was a backbencher who never raised her hand. Okay. Even in till college, if we had to present something, I would make the presentation and hide behind people, literally hide behind those 6 feet tall guys, so that nobody calls on me for anything. My knees would shake. But it's something that I have learned over time, to be comfortable talking to people, right? And that's again something that has served me very well in building a network, and then leveraging that network to get more business. And that works for jobs also. Okay, those of you who are here for jobs, because how confident you appear to whoever is hiring you makes a lot of difference. In fact, all the jobs I've got in my life, and I've worked for 3 companies, are because I've fought with the interviewer, who in one case was the CEO of a company, and in another case was the chief marketing officer. And I told them that, like, I was really moved, and I told them exactly what I thought of their interviewing skills, but I got the job. So, because your confidence needs to sort of shine through. So, this is also a very important skill to work on, right? Opening up and talking to people. And finally, the fourth and most important point is give value first. Don't look to sell. Anytime anyone says, I will, tell me how can I help you grow your page or grow your business, I'm like, I don't care. You don't even know what I want, right? So first, see how you can help that person, right? Once you've helped that person, they will reciprocate, because again, it is very inherent in human nature. You don't want that weight of some obligation sitting on you, right? So today, if I help you, you will want to help me in some way, right? I may not give you business directly, but if I know someone else, then I will connect them to you saying, by the way, this person really knows what they're talking about. Why don't you have a chat with them? So always go with a mindset of giving value. The money will 100% follow. Okay. So if you go in a sales mode, then nobody wants to be sold to, right? We are not those door-to-door salesmen ringing bells and getting doors slammed in our faces. We don't want to be that, right? We want to be that helpful advisor who is really, really valuable. Clients who have worked with me even 2, 3 years before, till date, feel comfortable to just call me up to understand what they're doing, where they're going. And even if they're not giving me business today, they are giving me so many referrals that I'm not even able to take them on because I don't have the bandwidth, right? So value again is another non-negotiable. That's the mindset change that you will have to think about. Okay. So here's what I already spoke about, but just a recap of that. So when you have that network, right? Who do you know and who do they know? So this is where you're going to get the first client from, right? So make a list of people you know really well. Someone you can just pick up the phone and call. And I'm sure at least one person will be there for all of us, right? It could be family, it could be friends, it could be ex-colleagues, vendors that you might have worked with at some point in time, or even acquaintances, right? So who is it that you can start talking to, and make them, I don't want to make you do the list right now. Does anyone want to do a quick list and tell me how many people popped up on their list in the chat? Okay, 10 people, 2 people. 10 is a fantastic number. Anyone else? Five to six. Yeah, one person, four, two. See, that's a great start, right? Once you start listing them down, you will see more connections will follow. Okay. And, they say that everybody in this world is just separated by 6 degrees of connections, right? So you effectively know billions of people, but you just need to find those 6 degrees of connections. And if you know 5, 6 people, right, they in turn will know another 5, 6 people who they are very well connected to, right? And that's how you would be able to say, can you pass me some business? And I'll give you an example. I'm not just talking out of the blue. I have done it myself, right? So when I started my first company, all the clients that we got, except this first guy who walked into our restaurant, were people we knew. Okay. When I quit that company and I started again, I had to sign a non-compete agreement which said any of the clients that we have worked with till date, I cannot work for the next 2 years. What did that include? Literally everyone I knew, because we had already leveraged those connections to get those clients. So when I started from scratch, for 2 years, I couldn't reach out to these clients again. But in that first year of freelancing, I made 40 lakhs. How did I do that? Because I couldn't get these clients. I asked them, do you know someone who can give me business? Because I've taken this step, I've moved out of the company. I can't work with you, but I definitely need business, right? And they poured in referrals for me because they had, and 40 lakhs for the year as a freelancer working alone with a 3-month-old baby is not a, joke. It's something that is a pretty good revenue goal to work with, right? So think through that, see what this list is. Even if they don't directly align with, somebody who need content services, they could know people who would be able to give you business, right? So make it a point to call them in the coming week and ask for some referrals. Nicely, politely, normal conversational way. And I'll also tell you how how I have done it, right? Just to give you a script that you can work with. So recently, one of my clients had a budget cut. So they they were giving us some 5 lakh a month in retainer. They cut it down to 2.4 lakhs. So I had basically 2.6 lakhs that I needed to make up in income because one client had gone down. So did I just randomly start calling up people? No. I have a list of companies that is my wish list of what are the companies I want to work with. I don't use it a lot because once a client comes to me, they typically tend to stay for a long period of time and we don't have bandwidth to onboard a new client. But this was a new interesting situation and I had to get a new client. So I looked at that list and the top 2 companies in that list, I went to my LinkedIn and I saw who are the relevant people who handle content and communications in these companies. I found 2, 3 people. Then I went to their connections and LinkedIn shows you mutual connections, right? So I saw who is it that we know in common. So in both the companies, I found people who we were connected to in common. Now in that list of people, I figured who am I most comfortable asking for a referral? Okay, because not everybody on LinkedIn, you can just randomly say, connect me to this person. So I narrowed down 2 people and I called both of them. They were connected to this one company, which is $4 billion in revenues. Okay. So first I connected to one, and they said, okay, I'll connect you to this person. They did, we had a conversation, but that's told. Then I called the other person. She also connected me to the same person and her push. So the push is coming from both sides for this person. So they said, okay, let's have a conversation. We had a conversation, we signed a contract, and now I'm working. Like the first project they sent me was a 5 lakh rupees ka ebook, right? So it was not random. I didn't even reach out to anyone else, just these 2 people who very categorically I said, target this one person and convince them that Supriya is great to work with, right? So that is why network is important, and that's how you leverage your network to find a client and convert your client. Okay. And very important, keep getting better clients, right? Your first client might be rubbish. Like the first time I worked as a freelancer, I was writing real estate blogs, detergent blogs, all of that, right? Now, did I want to do that all of my life? No. That time they were paying me like some 3,000 bucks for 700 words. Today, for 750 words, I charge 30,000. That's like a 10x growth. So every time you do a project, add that to your portfolio, make your portfolio look better, add those case studies, get testimonials from clients, ask the clients for referrals themselves, and at every step, the next client will be better. Okay. So that is another leveling up that you need to do. And finally, this is the nirvana stage where you do less for more. Okay, where you're not writing thousands and thousands of words, but you're getting paid more. And that happens over time. I'm not saying that's going to happen today, tomorrow, or whenever you start writing. Okay, slowly your focus will become quality clients, not quantity. You don't want to work with 100 clients, you want to work with maybe 3 or 4, right? You will also upskill, right? You will learn new skills as you're growing, since a lot of you are freshers. And as you grow, you will increase your prices. Then the next step is you can leverage collaboration to deliver more services. To give you an example, I don't know how to do videos, right? But one of my clients said, listen, I need some videos done, can you do it? I didn't say no, right? I went into my network and said, who can do videos for me? And I'm making an 80% markup on that without doing anything. I just had to find a person who can do scripts, who can do video. They're doing a fantastic job. I'm paying them the prices they asked for, but I quoted the client the price that I knew they would charge, like be okay with, right? So that's giving me an 80% profit, like sitting at home doing nothing. So that leverage, that is where the passive income starts building in and your revenue grows exponentially. And of course, then you start outsourcing work. When you get more clients and you get better, you find other writers, you pass them their work, and you get on the path to build your own agency. But all this is not going to happen if you don't show up consistently, right? So I just want to leave you with this thought that building a business is not easy. There'll be, or getting a job also, right? There'll be rejections, there'll be disappointments. I just told you about how like a client just cut 2.6 lakhs a month from our retainer, right? And there'll be months without consistent income. Some months, like I'm still chasing my clients for over 30 lakhs in account payable. So that will happen, right? But you have to keep showing up. And that is when you start as a solopreneur, it's a bit difficult because you're just doing things alone. So build an accountability group. This community could be your starting point. You can talk to people, figure out a partner who can tell you, okay, have you done this, have you done this, have you made a portfolio, have you made a plan, have you set up a revenue goal, have you reached out to people. So build that accountability group, be a part of this community, level each other up, because maybe let's say I'm great at long form, right? But I'm not so good at social media. So can I find somebody who's doing social media, or like how I found a video editor? So that way you can cross collaborate and don't let an opportunity go unfulfilled. And finally, you can also find a mentor to level up the rough patches, right? So this is pretty much what I had to say today. I think we're a little over time, but if you're okay, I can share a little bit about my 8-week program. Is that fine? I just take like 5 more minutes. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So anyway, this is a summary slide which you guys can check out. So to summarize, don't get stuck building complex systems. You don't need fancy website or social media handles. Be open to anything. Don't stress about your niche. Don't think of pricing as a fixed construct. Be flexible. Clients who pay more are less annoying. Upsell more instead of trying to find new clients. Clients want ideas, not just writing skills, and build relationships and get to know their business so that you can do more for them. Okay, just some final thoughts. And the 8-week intensive, and you can reach out to Fahim also, who can explain more about this. I'm not going to take a lot of time because we are already overshooting this. So we, of course, have, as the name suggests, 8 weeks in which we cover this program. It's divided into 8 modules. In the first week, we are going to take you through the what is a content writer? Because I think a lot of people think that just stringing 2 words together is content writing. It's not. Being a content writer is very different from just knowing the language or knowing how to, write sentences. So we will tell you what that is. We'll also help you set goals for your revenues. Then we will figure out why is writing so difficult, right? Why, when everybody knows how to talk in a language, why are they not able to write well? Then we will get into some very important things, which is understanding the intent of the client and asking the right questions. And this is the part that doubled Vinay's salary, by the way. Okay. Then we'll move into writing fundamentals, which is how do you up level a content piece and how do you write something that people are willing to pay big money for. We'll also explore research because I think a lot of people get lost here. So how do you do good research without, paying a lot of money for databases, etc. And how do you tell stories? Okay. Finally, we will also cover writing various forms of content, so email, social media, video scripts, blogs, articles. So there are a lot of these forms of contents that we will tell you how to write, and you will also practice through assignments. Then we will come to the business building part of it, where we will help you build your portfolio. We will talk about how do you go about finding clients. We will help you with pricing. We'll give you documentation templates. And we'll also talk about a very important thing, which is ethics of a writer. Because to give you an example, there was one person who was who reached out to someone and said, I have been working for Supriya. And anytime you make a statement like that, people will go and check, right? So this person came to me and said, by the way, I got this CV. This person has said they have worked with you. They have not worked with me. So I said, no, they have not. So, the client did not even check their samples because they're like, this is an ethical question. They have lied upfront and they rejected that application, right? So ethics are very important to become a successful content writer, and we're going to talk about that as well. So this is what you will get. There will be 18 recorded sessions. There will be 4 live calls with me, which is 2 per month, but this doesn't come with an expiry date. So I keep doing calls every 15 days, and you're free to join all of them. So totally 24 calls with me. You get 16 live calls with the program mentors, plus 60 plus hours of recording from previous cohorts. So every cohort has new questions, so you can check them out. You also get guides, worksheets, an exclusive WhatsApp group, preference for writing opportunities, and multiple practice assignments and mentor feedback. I just want to highlight, this is not a you join my course and I will give you work kind of an opportunity. We will share writing opportunities, but they are a very democratic process. So you have to figure out, so you will have to send me your quote and you have to send me your samples every time. And it's a competitive process, right? So whoever is doing great, like whose quote and samples match what I want, will get the project. Okay. So that's pretty much what it is. You can apply. Next batch is starting in November, so you can apply for that and you can reach out to Fahim for questions. Now I'm okay taking a few more questions. Just 1 second, huh? Sorry, my battery was about to die. Okay, so I think I'll take another 5-10 minutes for any questions if you have, or I'm just going to share some links in the chat window as well for you to 1 second. While I'm copying this link, please post your questions in the chat window. I will take them out. Can you suggest some groups that are good to join and open to people like us? In what context? Like, are you looking at membership groups or just communities? Could you clarify that? Okay, let me just look through these 1 second. Sorry, the chat is moving too fast for me. Okay. How do you start from scratch? I have no portfolio clients. You have to make the portfolio first. This is not a chicken and egg situation. Portfolio has to come first. This is why what we do in our 8-week course is all the assignments. You get 11 assignments, and they are designed in a way that you can use that as your portfolio to send to clients that you're reaching out to. Okay. Any questions on pricing, logistics, everything, just direct to Fahim. He will help you out. It's a same price for everything. So in terms of groups, one is, of course, this highly paid content writers WhatsApp community that you can join. You can, for example, if you're looking for business kind of networking, then BNI is apparently a place that has a lot of good traction going. So you can join that, but it's a paid group. And who else? Will I get a link to the intensive course by email? Okay, so what I'll do is when I send the recording of this webinar today, I will add the link to the application form. So the process is you have to apply because we are not open to anyone and everyone. We want to have, so the 8-week community has a very good vibe that has built up because everybody's very like keen to help each other out. And so we have this application form. We want you to fill the form. And once we feel that there's a bit of, we get to know you a little bit, then Fahim will call you and you get to know us a little bit through him. And if everything syncs up, then you can decide whether you want to be a part of that community or not, right? So application form is the first step. Will you guide us, if not from you, any other places that give content writing jobs? Like I said, my approach is the network, right? So I will push you to build a network. Because otherwise, you know what happens if you're working for other agencies, they take the bigger chunk of the pie and you get, those 2 rupee, 3 rupee kind of assignments. So even in those, the network is what is going to help us, right? So I'm going to focus on the networking approach, which has consistently worked for a lot of people that I have seen, right? Um, okay. Um, cool. So I think there are no more questions, which is either I rambled on too much or I was very clear in what I was exploring. But thank you so much for being a great audience. Um, glad to see so many of you here. And I hope I will see some of you in the cohort as well. Awesome. Thank you and have a great weekend. I will send this recording over in some time. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.